Blog Talk Radio.
I had to think about what day it was. How sad is that? It's Wednesday afternoon in Wisconsin. It's very rainy, a little bleak, but we're here. I'm proud to say that I'm back after a significant amount of time. For anyone that has listened to my show before, you already know that it's probably been a good 3 months or so. So I wanted to start off with some very quick announcements before, of course, we get to my special guest today, which is Levi. And before I get him on the line, I'll just say right off the bat how grateful I am to be having a sensational guest for my first time back on my show. Quickly, I wanted to remind everybody of a couple things coming up. The magazine is coming. Yes, it is. It's actually coming. Believe it or not, it's a sensational issue. I've seen a good deal of it. And more importantly, I'm quite proud of the fact that this month I'm able to put on the front cover the spotlight and showcase a number of senior citizens that don't normally get recognized. One of the things with this whole crisis that's been going on lately is that elderly individuals are the ones that probably have suffered the very most. And they don't have a lot to look forward to, sadly. They're older. They haven't been able to get a lot of visitors. They haven't been able to do any visiting, go anywhere. And I felt inclined to kind of step up a bit and say, hey, I have a platform. Use it. Very blessed and very fortunate to have a bunch of artists, lovely work, just beautiful people. Super excited about that. So in case you haven't checked it out, www.theartistlivemagazine.com. For the October issue, I'm even more super excited because if you follow me, again, you all know musicians and artists and filmmakers, and, well, we all know I'm very sweet on actors. Those are my favorite people. So the ability to be able to use an entire issue where I've got live interviews as well as actual written interviews about actors and filmmakers and the festival, and, of course, all the film reviews from the various films that won at Art is Alive this year. Super excited about that. And then wait for the news after the October issue comes out because Halloween's always my favorite time, so I don't want to jinx it. But, yeah, so that'll be coming up, the Art is Alive magazine update. Thank you so much to everybody that supported, showed up, came to the virtual edition of Art is Alive. As we all know, it takes about 7 months for me to prepare it. If any of you were in attendance, you already know that the fate of the festival is still hanging in the balance. And I say that because every day somebody seems to come along and say, please don't go. And obviously, of course, again, my heart is with actors and filmmakers, so it's very complicated. So we're in the process of looking at the idea of possibly expanding it out to different countries. I am not 100% sure. We'll just have to wait and see how things go on that front. But if you guys want to check it out, I want to say within the next week to 2 weeks, the films will be edited, in which case then, and when I say films, I don't mean the film itself, I'm sorry. What I mean is the actual interviews. Fortunately for me, I have a number of distribution links, so with any luck at all, the filmmakers will listen to me and actually go get distributed so that you can see their products. So, Art is Alive Film Festival is the name of it. Go ahead, check it out. We've got a bunch of information and details on there about the winners and how to find them. Again, thanks so much to everybody who attended. Thank you so much to everybody who screened, who allowed me to do their panels with them, and most importantly, the behind-the-scenes people, which is, of course, I don't want to say myself why, because I really don't feel like I do as much as people give me credit for, but more importantly, my partner. Without him, I wouldn't be able to set this up because I'm tech stupid for one, and more importantly, sometimes when I think that I can't go on camera for one more second longer, he reminds me that I can, and then he tells me that I do it so very well, and he makes me believe that for 30 seconds. So thank you, Michael, for everything that you did as it relates to the festival. Before I forget, 2 more things, and then I promise I'll get right to Levi. Number one, thank you so much ahead of time to Kelly Bennett for this interview today. I can't thank you enough for your patience. I feel like you had to wait for a month to get a hold of me. So thank you so very much for that. In relation to the rumors about television, I've been asked, people have been asking. I know I'm supposed to say yes. I'm pretty sure that I did say yes, but I haven't signed on the dotted line yet, so wait for news on that. There was also talk about syndication of radio, but no news is good news, I think. I don't know. I'm still kind of mulling that whole thing over. Everything basically is in a state of influx, as you've heard if you've watched me on social media. So stay tuned for where I'm going to go and what I'm going to do. I am slimming some things down a bit. I just don't know what. For October, though, in case you didn't look at Cin's Chat Corner page on Facebook, go ahead and take a look. I'm scheduled, I believe, for 12 shows this coming month. So please go ahead and check that out if you would. The last thing that I want to mention, which is the most important, because I just found out before I came on here, so I'm going to try to do a really good show. One of my dear friends from high school just reached out to me an hour ago. to let me know that somebody that we both went to high school with passed away yesterday. So Sergio, I'll just give a quick intro on who he is, and then I'll start. I went to high school with him, and you get in those little cliques and crowds of people, and Sergio was one of the geeks just like me, one of the nerds, one of those people that people don't ever notice. He's probably one of the kindest, sweetest souls I've ever met, a man who would never, ever have an ill word to say about anyone. So I'm very saddened at the news of this. So, Sergio, there's nothing I can really do for you now except to say, hopefully I'll do my very best today and make you proud of me, and I hope that you find peace sooner than later. So you probably want to stop listening to me. So let's get Levi on the line. We'll start talking about him. I'm terribly sorry I'm running behind. I'm sorry, but I wanted to get caught up. Most importantly, hey, welcome back to my show. I'm so excited that you guys are here. This is absolutely awesome. You're going to love Levi. I listened to his music. I did a whole bunch of research, and you guys are going to love this guy. So without further ado, let's get him on the line. Hello, Levi.
Hey, Cindy. How are you?
Well, that was a whole lot of mouthful, wasn't it? I had a lot to say after a couple of months. I've been off the radio for a long time, so I'm kind of getting my bearings back on. So thank you for your patience. I had a lot to say. I appreciate you waiting. And I have some really good things to talk about with you because I researched you really well, even behind your back. So I have some great questions for you. Well, that's what that's what a journalist does. They do those sorts of things. So I want to start off by asking what I love to ask this question because most people oftentimes we get caught up with things and we forget. You're in Montana, I know, and so obviously that's a different part of the world than where I'm at in Wisconsin. So tell me a bit about how people are doing there, how they're adjusting to, well, if there is such a thing as adjustment. How are you guys holding up with all of this hysteria going on?
I would say Montana's kind of in a different way. We're less populated than a lot of areas. So certain states, if they have X amount of cases, really it's kind of daily life has resumed to fairly normal. In your bigger cities like Bozeman and Billings, everything's still kind of shut down. But in the areas that I'm at within Dillon and Butte, Butte, we still got to wear masks and stuff going in places. And, obviously it's weird because having things, you're covered up and it's just, you feel weird because you try to smile at someone, and then you realize that they can't see you smiling. So it just looks like you're staring at them. And you kind of feel weird, but Montana's we're slowly getting back to being, I guess, somewhat normal. We're not anywhere close to normal again, but we're finding our ways, in certain areas, being able to do what we used to do, which is great. So I would say Montana, and overall, we're holding up fairly well, and everyone's just eager to get back to normal life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I noticed some of the cancellations I was looking on your Facebook, and I note that you had to reschedule a few things. And that's got to be frustrating as a musician. A lot of my friends are so frustrated because they're like artists who are like, I just want to do my art, you know what I mean? And you just feel like you're not seen. So it's important that you're seen. I saw you. I saw a whole lot of you this morning, as a matter of fact. So
well,
I admire the fact that you guys are still doing it. The fact that you get up, you don't give up, you're continuing to book things and do things is very admirable. It truly is. I want to ask you, you're quite welcome. I don't know if you've heard of a place called Good Medicine Lodge in Whitefish, Montana. Familiar with that area?
Oh boy, I'm familiar with Whitefish, but I'm not too sure that I've heard of the lodge. I gotcha. Honestly, with all the places and things going through my brain, yeah.
No, the reason I ask is just because literally you might have heard that I have the magazine, and so, of course, oftentimes bed and breakfast will work together, and they approach me, and they said, hey, we want you to come to this lodge and do this and all that good jazz. So I was hoping I could convince this handsome Italian actor I know to come with me to go check out this bed and breakfast. So I was curious if you heard anything good and bad about it, because I'm like, he's from Montana. He'll know.
Well, that area is drop dead gorgeous. Especially when we don't have the smoke. Right now, smoke's clearing out. So that area, right now, if you were to go there, it is beautiful. Right now is a beautiful time to be there.
Awesome.
Anytime
that
is beautiful to be in that area. Yes, it is very, very nice.
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to start off by saying that to the girls that might be listening to this, he's not single. Sort of to start right off the bat, because I was like, one of the things you notice when you creep on somebody is, he's in a relationship. And I'm like, the girls are going to be like, damn, he's not single. Damn it. So I do want to
yeah,
ask this
now
question
I'm going
because I
battle
asked
every
this.
day.
I want to ask this question because oftentimes I find that it's pertinent to find out about this. So in case you folks don't know, Kaylee is the lovely young lady, of course, that you are with. And so I want to ask this question to you. When you are with an individual, like in this case, this beautiful girl, and she is beautiful, by the way. They're, like, so cute together. You're like a miniature Ken and Barbie. You guys are, like, so young. You're like my son's age. And it's like, oh, my God, look at them with their animals and each other. I'm like, oh, my God, so precious. Anyways, so here's what I want to ask. Tell us a little bit of mush, like how you met the girl, obviously, and then most importantly, tell me a bit about how she factors in terms of helping you with your career, because we all know having a good, solid support system as an artist is important.
You're 100% correct. Well, first of all, she and I had met. She was coming to Idaho, actually, and in the midst of her passing by, that is how we kind of ran into each other. And she was going to visit her grandparents and everything out in Idaho, and through all that, we ended up crossing paths and talking about her, visiting Montana. I was trying to get her to sell the idea that she should live in Montana instead of Idaho, give Montana a shot before Idaho, because she's from Alaska. And so her being the brave girl she is, we had talked for a while, and she's like, that's it, I'm doing it, I'm moving, I'm coming to Montana. And so she was looking for places to rent and everything down here, and it was outrageous. And I said, why don't you I've got an extra room if you want to, we can slowly work into this, but I don't feel right if, you got to go and put out $900,000 a month to rent a place by yourself, So she kind of moved in, and from there we just took everything, one day at a time, and it's been fantastic. She's a rock. That girl is. She's solid. She is by far my big support system. She, deals with me on every day. Things, in this industry, things are not easy. They're actually quite tough. They're, you go through your ups and downs, and you go through. I mean, she's got to deal with quite a bit. She's got to sit and watch, girls constantly be talking to me and saying things, but she's so comfortable in herself that she's okay with me doing my, because that's part of the business, is being out and mingling with your fans and talking to people. But then I come home from a long day, whether we've been on the road for a week straight, 2 weeks straight, whatever it is. We come home and she's there to kind of bring me back to real life and tell me that I did great, and that make me feel good about myself, and always keep me on the up and going, because I'm constantly trying to do a million things at one time, and she's there to kind of bring me at peace every day.
See, this is like so cool, because whenever I'm doing my show, I'm always saying to myself, oh my God, I must totally sound like the freak who's gushing about her actor guy all the time. And then I listen to you and I'm like, oh, it's not just me. There's actually other people out there, so now I don't feel so bad. I think people mistake the fact that if you don't have something like that in your life, or someone in your life who's like that, especially with, like you said, the industry is very complicated, and especially now it has a great deal of challenges. So kudos to you on that. And of course, obviously, like I said, I didn't get to check this, so I want to know what's been driving me nuts. So is she the girl in the video? Because she looks just like her.
She is. Yes, she is.
I knew it.
I knew it. We had definitely talked about that. That was a big, she was, I had asked her, I brought the idea to her, and I said, hey, we're going to shoot this video here in a couple weeks, and she's like, are you sure you want me to be in that? Wouldn't you rather have someone else do that? And she's like, what if we broke up? I'm like, honey, we can't think about that thing right now. We got to live in the moment and do it. And she was like, yes, all right, we're doing it. So we flew to Denver and shot the video. It was a blast.
That is so cool. That is. It's absolutely awesome. So maybe I should be talking to her about my upcoming. I wrote a script for my actor, and so
really?
I wrote myself a tiny little. I did, and I wrote a tiny little part for myself, just enough to because I'm not an actor, so I'm like, oh, I can just hop right on stage and I can be right next to him, because I wrote it for him because it's my favorite part he's ever done. So I'm like, okay, fine. So maybe I should be talking to her about advice on that, because I'm not an actor either. I mean, he'll wipe the floor with me. He is so good. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I was thinking, but I knew it. I knew that was her. Great video, by the way, and we'll get into that. And of course, we're going to play the song. But the video is. It's very well done, and it's not over the top. It's not one of those, it says what it needs to say, and it's awe, and it's sweet, but it's done very, very, very well. So I'd like you to talk a bit about that experiment, meaning most people don't go on set, let alone going to do a music video. So tell everybody who's listening in about the experience of actually recording something like that, the guts behind the glamour, so to speak. Because I think people just automatically assume, oh, well, they get to go do a music video, and that must be so much fun. But talk about the work into making this wish come true.
This is actually very, very. This video has the most unique story that I think you'll ever come across in anybody that makes music videos, because the work and the guts and blood, I mean literal blood, everything that went behind to making this video was from start to finish was just, I mean, it was incredible on everyone's end. But so, everyone sees the glamour and everything, but they, like you said, they don't see what's going on behind the scenes. So when we were shooting, there's a part in that video where you see me and my girlfriend Kaylee in the back of the truck. We're sitting there playing. There's a red barn there. Well, that red barn is no longer standing after the day we shot that video. So there was a tornado winds that had come through Denver, that area, and we just got done wrapping up because it was getting so windy, but we had got enough footage that we kind of needed. And we're pulling away, and this door is just slamming back and forth on the barn to these people's house who very kind of let us use their place, their property. And so I told everyone, I'm like, got the camera crew, got my producer, got everyone out there. I'm like, let's hold this door shut real quick to try and fix it, strap it back together. In the meantime of doing that, the roof of the building goes up in there, just blows off, goes flying away. Everyone goes flying like 10 feet in different directions. It was just crazy. How no one got hurt or killed was beyond me. And so that was just it was a crazy wild just absolutely wild for that to even happen. And we're all trying to get our wits underneath us and trying to, how did that just happen to us? We're just shooting a video, and then all of a sudden buildings are blowing up. And so the joke was we literally blew the roof off the barn while we were making the video, but we laugh about it. We laugh about it now because everyone's in one piece. But so we had thought the day after that we went and shot the footage in the jet. You'll see that we were in that jet about halfway through the video. Well, that we think that everything's over. The storm had blown by, the wind had settled, and we get there, and our good friends again let us use their jet there for Hagen Aviation. They let us borrow one of their jets for all the film, and we bring it outside no less than 10 minutes before we brought it outside. Winds came back up, and it sucked gravel into the engine of that jet, and that jet had to get repaired, which was I can't even tell you how much that was that they, thank God for insurance and all that, but it kind of seized the engine on that jet that you see in that video. So there was a lot of work that had to go into fixing that jet. Yes, it was a absolute nightmare of trying, but everyone battled through it. We got the guy who owns the Hagen Aviation, he was just a great sport. He's just like, things happen, man, and he just was happy as all can be and didn't even really seem to worry about it. I'm freaking out because I'm like, that jet is literally about to blow away, and he's like, it'll be fine, right. We'll fix it, because he was a mechanic. That's how he kind of grew up before he got into his own business and stuff, and so him being able to fix it, he wasn't too worried, though I was very worried. And but everyone seemed to just keep their feet on the ground, and we struggled all the way through that video, and it turned out amazing because everyone just battled through all the adversity coming our way between the winds, the rocks being thrown. Our camera guys got his windshield blown out from the rocks, blowing so hard on the runway it actually hit his windshield and busted the back windshield of his car. It was a nightmare in that sense, but when we got done, wild story, one we don't want to relive by any means, but also one that you'll never forget. And so that's what makes that video so unique to us. We're like, we all shared those moments that were life, death, threatening, and so like thrilling in other senses, and yet so crazy that to have this awesome video come out of it was just spectacular.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, it really was a joy to watch, to tell you the truth, because she sent me different clips and I was reading, and so I've read through your backstory. I don't want to elongate, of course, because I've read some of the press that's been done about you. So, of course, your injuries been covered and things like that. So I do want to talk a bit about what you used to do. Why? Because you're the only guest I've ever had who used to play hockey, believe it or not. I've had athletes of all different
no
kinds.
kidding.
Hockey, let me just tell you this much. I say this to my boys all the time because I have teenagers, and they're at home. And the minute they start saying, oh, I'm going to do this boxing bit and I'm going to do this football bit, I'm like, no, you're not. And they're like, yes, we are. I'm like, no, you're not. Because I don't think boys realize that when you go get your ass beat, it's not really pretty to be watching. And I'm going to guess this hockey thing doesn't look very safe. It doesn't look very, I'm like, if I was Diane, I'd be like, what is that boy doing of mine? That Levi is not thinking. So what I want to ask you about this is this. Obviously, you did this and you were well at it because, of course, I saw the draft and everything that happened. I don't want to elongate on it too much, but what I do want to say is this. Looking back, believe it or not, oftentimes what we used to do in other professions kind of lends itself to what we do in the future. So tell me, if anything, if there's any correlation between playing hockey and actually becoming a musician and a singer, et cetera. What did you take away from the hockey experience that lends itself to having a larger career in music?
Well, the biggest thing is work ethic because I was raised that way, but hockey had taught me that if you work hard enough at something, you will either, secure that spot or you will move forward in your career and what you're doing. So keeping your head down, being humble, and always working every chance you get will bring you those things. That, and also to sit back and enjoy what's happening in the moment because it'll be gone before you know it. My hockey career it seems like it was here and gone. And, I started from 3 years old and I miss every moment of it. So working hard and taking in what is happening in the moment too is such a big thing because they're all things that just get overlooked. And, but that and the business side of music, people think also that music is just, you grab your guitar and you go sing and something happens. Well, the only way things happen is you pursuing the business end of things, by you getting your name out there, by you contacting venues, by you constantly being after what's next in your career. And I would say that from hockey, it's taught me those three things very, very well.
Well, and more importantly, how did you live, for God's sake? I got to tell you, I've watched Milwaukee hockey players, and I'm like, you get yourself a good smack or two, and I'm like, oh, my God, your face would be all messed up in the whole 9 yards. Is it a relief? I mean, honestly, even though you love something, we all know there's a danger aspect to it. I mean, sometimes you kind of just sigh to yourself oh, man, I could have really screwed myself up. You know what I mean? Because it looks dangerous.
Oh,
maybe
absolutely.
It's me and I'm a girl. Really?
No, it is very dangerous. It's contact to its full degree, I couldn't tell you how many times I've when we played, especially when I got in my higher career, we had doctors on the bench because there were so many injuries that would take place during the game that you had to either get sewed back up or stapled up and then go back out and play. And I just gotten a fist fight with this guy who was twice my size, and he ended up clobbering me in the back of the head pretty good. It split the back of my head all the way open to the top of my skull, and they ended up I didn't know I was bleeding until I got to the bench, but I thought it was sweat until I rubbed the back of my neck was covered in blood, and I went to our nurse doctor practitioner, stapled me up, slapped me on the head, and said, "You're good to go." and back out we went. And I look back now thinking, I could have seriously done some damage, and there's a lot of parts on me that hurt and that remind me of those moments every day, but I still wouldn't trade it for the world.
Oh, that's awesome. Absolutely. And, congratulations on that. Even though you're not doing that anymore, I think it's something to be said about somebody who's that persistent and passionate about anything, even if it's on the athletic side of things. You've accomplished a great deal in that regard. Now here you are taking on a new thing, and I applaud you for that. I mean, it's not easy to transition from one career into another career that swiftly, and you've done very well for yourself at a young age, which is even more impressive because I'm getting old, and I'm like, it's nice to sit back and be like, it's nice to see up-and-comers, especially with country music. Country music seems to get itself quite a bit of – I've noticed a trend with you folks. First of all, none of you are ugly. I have a dear friend in Canada. The guy is attractive. Ed Roman's a good friend of mine. He's not ugly. I'm like, first of all, musicians, younger musicians, of course, are always very attractive. Number two, they're ferocious when it comes to having that feeling of, I want to get out there. I want everybody to hear me. I saw your videos where you've got your little fans that you love, with the little kids are running up there, or you've got them up on the balcony there. It was so refreshing to see something like that. Also, I do know clearly that your friends and family have an impact on you. So I wanted to be sure to ask about, for those that don't know the backstory, tell us a bit about Wyatt and, of course, obviously, what he meant to you, because clearly we all write about people that have touched our hearts in some way. So I'd like to know a bit more about him if I could.
Absolutely. You know, and it's so awesome to be able to even share his story with those who are listening in and people who have no clue about him. And so thank you for asking. But Wyatt was my best friend growing up. I played hockey with him from a young age, and you know, we grew up together. And I lived with him and his family. And his dad is like a second father to me. His whole family has been nothing but a blessing to me. And so that there, I mean, the you know, all that support that I have is so fueling in my career now. But Wyatt got in a bad car accident driving down the highway with a couple of our other buddies. They ended up rolling the vehicle, and he got ejected, and it ended up crushing him. They life flighted him, and you know, I will never forget that moment, being woken up early in the morning by my mother telling me that Wyatt had passed away. And you know, I had a game that night. That night, so I woke up in the morning, had a game that night, and you know, I said to myself, I said, Wyatt would, you know, he would want me to play this game and then come home, because I had to, you know, obviously catch a flight. I wasn't anywhere in Montana, so I went out there, and needless to say, we kicked some butt, and I you know, kept my head up high, and then I dealt with all the, you know, the stress and everything after the game was over, and we flew back home and did the funeral and all that. But I wear this, if anyone ever sees me play live or sees me on a video or anywhere, you'll notice that I always have this bullet that I carry around my neck on a necklace, and in that bullet is his ashes. So his ashes are in that bullet, and I just kind of, it's my way of taking him around with me everywhere and doing all the things, you know, we would have done together had he still been alive. So it gives me a little peace, but also in my writing and everything, he brings me so much, you know, I guess a really deep place to write from. And there's so many people out there that have lost someone, and if you've ever experienced losing someone that you truly love or care about, you know that it's a miserable thing to have to go through. And me being able to share my story and touching others in that same sense has just been, I've seen such a joy from that, because people, they find, you know, either a relief through the music that I sing or the song that I wrote about him. When they hear that, they relate to it in such similar ways that it's just kind of a blessing to see that I can be a relief for someone else who's gone through the same tragic incident.
You betcha, absolutely. I know what you're talking about. In fact, I literally wrote that same show I was talking to you about. A dear friend of mine, Alan, was an actor in Canada, and I immortalized him for the show, as a matter of fact. It's powerful to see how you can kind of emulate somebody in the course of some form of, whether it's music, whether it's theater, whether it's film, etc., and it just keeps their memory alive, and it kind of eases the pain in your heart a bit, I think. Now, tell the audience, I should say, because I already know about the song. Tell them about the song relative to him. And, of course, is it hard for you ever to sit back and listen to that? And sometimes you kind of have to step away, because it can get very painful. Loss can also be very painful as you're working your way through it, no matter how long it takes.
Yes, absolutely. The song that when I listen to it, you know, it's saddening. It definitely brings back, you know, deep tears and, you know, things, emotions inside of me. But I would say the hardest part about that song is playing that one live, because it's just when I play, I get lost in the moment. I mean, I couldn't tell you really who's doing what in the stands or what's going on. I am lost in between that beat of the kick drum, the snare, and me and my vocals, and just picturing what I'm portraying to the audience, and when I do that, you know, it's like I see his face, and it's just always so hard to get to without tears or choking up or getting flustered and almost forgetting words, because you're so caught up in that moment that it's very hard to play that one each and every night that we go out and play, especially when, you know, we're putting on this concert and everything's, and that's the point, is to, you know, kind of the roller coaster ride of a concert, which is your ups and downs and your highs and your lows. And when it comes down low and everyone, it just gets quiet there. It's just like, wow, you know, I have the attention of all these people here right now that are here to listen to my story of my buddy. So it's awesome to be able to share a story like that and have everyone listen and take something away from it. But like you said, it's very hard to play in and out and listen to it it's always brings back those memories, the sad ones, along comes the happy ones as well too, occasionally through that song. But it was more focused on the heartfelt part of losing someone you love. So it is very hard to listen to, and it's harder to play.
I imagine so, definitely. Well, congratulations for putting something like that together. It does really take a whole lot of heart to work away from heart, and congratulations on getting through that, continuing to play it, of course.
Thank you.
I want to fix things up a bit because I'm already depressed, and now I'm depressing you. So let's move in another direction because I was already depressed at the start of the show. So let's talk a bit about Montana. This is what I know about this guy on the other end of my phone. First of all, he likes beer. Second of all, he likes horses. Third of all, he likes dogs. I can also tell from the pictures he likes his girlfriend, too, which is always a good thing. So this is what I want to ask. The definition of Montana is an untamed, wild, and natural place, which I imagine you are to some degree. So did Montana pick you, or did you pick Montana? Because it sounds like you're perfectly suited for each other.
I would say Montana picked me. I was born and raised here, and I've known nothing different. I've known nothing different than in, like you said, that untamed, that wild, free. That is me in every aspect. I jump in the mornings. I either jump on my dirt bike and I'm off in the hills, or my horses. I'm gone. Living life in the moment, I would guess, would be my way of describing myself. I'm very, very outgoing, and I just love to live. We've only got one shot at this job we were here to put on earth, and that's to breathe air and enjoy it. So I'm trying to do my best at that.
Oh, you certainly are, based on the pictures. Plus, if you guys get a chance to take a look at his website or any of the other places on social media he's at, that picture of you and the dog is just really super nice. You've got dog pictures and horse pictures, both of them, just absolutely lovely. I have to tell you, you're very photogenic, especially with the animals. It's really cool to take a look at. So your marketing is top par, and I'm not just saying that because I know Kelly. I seriously believe that the best parts of you are being captured on camera, in addition to the music that you play, which is a double whammy, so to speak. I know recently you just had your release party. Wasn't so long ago, as a matter of fact, August of 2020. So tell me a bit about how that went, because, again, like I said, we're all living through this crisis, so I imagine that was a bit challenging. But overall, how did the actual release go, and more importantly, how did the audience embrace the new music that came out?
Well, the release was fantastic, to say none the least, and that's all thanks to my mother and my lovely girlfriend, who also, my birthday was August 26th, and so they kind of incorporated both without me knowing. I had no clue. I knew we had the release party set up, and we were doing what we could under the restrictions, and had, we kept it outdoors, and we tried to keep space between everybody, and did our best in keeping everyone safe. And so the turnout was amazing. I mean, all my friends from all over, you name it, from Wisconsin and your part to all the way to, from every corner of Montana they all came from. And there was some from Minnesota, there was some from Denver, there was they all traveled a long ways to be there and hang out and support, and which was awesome. And so that, and of course unfamiliar faces, which was great to see, just the turnout that we could have with the restrictions. And so with that being said, they also, the night before we got up there, in this lodge, it's called Sugarloaf Lodge in Montana, and if you ever have a chance to go visit it, it's right outside of Butte. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And my Wyatt's dad, my buddy who we had talked about, who passed away, his dad actually bought this lodge, and so we decided what a better place to have the release party out there. And so he let us have it, and everyone had showed up, but I was going out there the night before knowing nothing, and I was just going to stay the night and hang out and have a nice meal with Jay and Monica, the people who own the Sugarloaf Lodge. And we got up there, no less than 2 minutes. When I walked through the door, I hear surprise, and there had to have been over 100 some people jumping out of every corner. And I mean, people, my best friend that I haven't seen, who's been working in California he's just slaving away. He's a linesman, and he's trying to, with all the fires, trying to make up for all that. So he doesn't have much time off. I've seen him. I've seen buddies from Denver, from Wisconsin, from you name it. I was just in tears almost. I was like, how could you possibly? Because my friend group ranges from everywhere around the United States. I'm like, how could you get everyone to come and at one time. I had to take a lot of planning, and so I was just so grateful to have the two girls that I have in my life to be able to do something so special for me. It puts things in perspective of how much they care about you when it's like, you guys did this all for me. It just was dumbfounding, or it was awesome. It was a great experience, and I felt super appreciative of those two. But the overall release party the next day was a great success. It was just a blast. Everyone enjoyed the new music, and it was nothing but good that came out of it.
Very, very cool. Just good to hear. In my research, I came to find out one of the things that you've done in the past, of course, is to assist with a fundraiser that benefited Toys for Tots. So I was curious to ask you how you got involved with that, and in terms of, do you have a personal connection to that? Oftentimes musicians will lend themselves to missions that matter to them. So how did you get involved with all of that?
Well, the gentleman who was actually putting it on had contacted us, and we had started chatting about it and kind of just throwing, ideas back and forth on what we could do. And when it all came down to it and we were available, there was no way I was going to turn it down. And we've always had this thing when I was little growing up, my mother always made us go, and we would get someone less fortunate. We would take them out shopping for Christmas or the holiday. And, being able to see that you can bring that much joy to a child, to children, to whoever it is just, it just makes you feel so good. And so if we could, give our time to go play for a benefit that's going to support those children and bring a little more happiness in their life, I think we need a little more of that in this world of just, trying to help your neighbor, trying to help those less fortunate, and that way this world can continue to go round. And I was doing my part, and something that I care deeply about is just being able to give. And that was our way of giving.
That very much. Toys for Tots is just a wonderful organization. So that was very cool. And again, I love how oftentimes people give of themselves when it comes to charitable contributions like that. So that's awesome. I want to switch gears a little bit because I see, of course, you have an upcoming gig. But more importantly, if you look on his website, it says that you can have like this private event. And I always see that. My musician friends are like, oh, we're doing a private event. And then I got me to thinking, wouldn't it be cool if you could just have I want to know what a private event means. Like, let's say, for instance, I call my buddy up. Like, let's say one of your buddies called and says, I want a private event. What's inclusive of that private event? Because I'm like, well, if I told Michael I wanted a private event, what's he going to do? Act for me? Like, come up with something for an hour? You know what I mean? So, like, what's the standardized, what's a private event like if you know somebody? It's like, all right, well, let's book them. So tell the folks a bit about what you offer in terms of your private events, because I don't think they know that musicians will do stuff like this. It's not really like the norm, at least from where we are.
Right.
Here.
Right. Well, private events are a lot more laid back. There's not like you don't have all the ropes and hoops to jump through. It's usually it's for sometimes it'll go from a wedding to where it's it'll be a wedding that we'll go and play for 3 hours and just hang out with the bride and grooms and just throw the best party that we can put on for them and be that entertainment for them that special night of their lives. Or there's a special occasion. We had a gentleman who had flown us down from Montana, and he just wanted to have a big birthday party bash, and he wanted to hire us to come down to Denver. So he flew us in on one of his jets, believe it or not, which was really cool for all of us that went on that trip to be able to fly in a private jet. That doesn't happen every day. And so he flew us down on one of his chartered jets, and we got there, and he just wanted to have a party. That was his rule, was just he wanted to have a party. And so we played 3 hours of nonstop music from, start to finish, and just, did our job. We made everyone have fun, dance, joy. And, those private events they range from all of what that person is, what they want. If they want it low-key and kind of laid back, we'll strip it down and make it more sentimental. Or if they want it, loud and let's party, we've got the both options to do both, and we're really just whatever they want in those private events, which they're fun for us as well too. We have a blast playing them, seeing everyone have so much fun.
Now, does that mean then that you, at the very end, I could just envision you like, okay, so if you want to learn how to play hockey, I could give you like 2 or 3 tips on that. Is that inclusive of the hot beat, the cute little hot beat sort of, here's some 3 or 4 tips on that? You'd be kind of good at that, music and then a little bit of hockey. Because I'm always thinking on the line.
Yeah.
Always. So I want to talk a bit about music, of course, because you're a musician, so I like to pick brains. First question I have for you relative to the music is, you could have picked any genre, and frankly, I could honestly have seen you doing more of a country rock sort of thing, which I envision some of what you do is. But why the trend to country music? Because I won't lie to you, we've talked about this on the show before, and a lot of times people are like, oh my God, country music is all about the cat dying, the dog dying, somebody left me, I'm going through divorce, you know what I mean? The trend is that
Right.
It can be very somber and very sad. So why did you choose country?
Well, I chose country for the main fact of that's just how I live. You know, I have horses. I've got, you know, all my buddies that that are my friends. They got cows, and and we take our dogs and horses and cows out and chase things around, and our trucks through mud, and you know that's our way of living every day, is just kind of more redneck to say. You know, we're not like not really city folk by any means. We're more kind of out in the boonies kind of kids, and that's just how we've grown up. And so that music has always appealed to me because it was speaking my life language, I guess. Needless to say, you know, growing up, I didn't also realize how deep I was into it until I started playing country music, that I realized I am such a redneck country guy because of some of the things I do, you know, it's pretty funny. If you watch me on a daily basis, just the things I do, you'd be like, wow, you know, more and less you'd be laughing all the time, because I kind of can be kind of do that, you know. I'm kind of weird in certain ways, and that's the way I enjoy to be. But country, you know, growing up on Haggard or if it was Johnny Cash or whoever it was just almost, you know, boy, who sings that song? My favorite song was that, you know, Painted Red, Strapless. Why? Who sings that song? I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, but me and my best friend used to drive this dirt road every day after school when we could finally drive, and we'd listen to that song the whole way. Alan Jackson, Drive, and is the name of the song, and we'd listen to that song up and down this dirt road every day. It was our song we'd go to. We'd start at the dirt road, and it was about a 40-minute drive down this dirt road, and then we'd turn around and play it coming back, and that was, you know, what's kind of directed me towards country music. But that being said, I enjoy almost every genre of music. I can, you know, a lot of my buddies in my band, when we go out and play, most of them are metalheads, and I understand that. You know, I love metal. I love, you know, I love pop. I love it all, but country is what spoke like more so to my heart, to my life. So I figured that was the best fit for me.
Sure. Do you find, and this is one thing I couldn't find anywhere, I couldn't see in all my research, which is surprising. Are you self-taught, or did you go to school to learn how to play music, or how did that come about? Because I couldn't verify whether you actually were trained or not.
Right. Well, so my lead guitar player, his name's Russell Nelson. He, when I was younger, he gave me a few lessons. I'd bought a guitar. I went through, you know, some really rough patches of my cousin, you know, passing away, uncle passing away, a lot of deaths in my family. That was a kind of dark place. And my mom went and bought me a guitar. Me and my best friend bought us a guitar and said, learn to play this, you know, this is some good pastime, you know, just almost hoping that I would take it up, but she wasn't pushing it upon me by any means. And she got me signed up for a couple lessons, and I took a few lessons from Russ, and now we're 8-9 years later, and he's the lead guitar player in my band, and I had disappeared to North Dakota. My best friend had passed away. I locked myself in the basement because I was hurt. I couldn't play hockey. You know, it was kind of in a dark time. So while everyone was off playing, I was kind of staying at home, and I just put my nose to the grindstone and learned that guitar. I mean, 6 months straight, I don't think I came out of that basement except unless it was for food or water. I was down there till my fingers bled, and I learned, you know, but then when I could finally get my bearings underneath me, I realized how awesome it is to be able to express yourself through. Even back then it was someone else's music because I wasn't writing my own, and so even just expressing through someone else's words felt so great. So I just dove right into it, and me being me, I put every every ounce of everything I have behind it, and here we are today. And I joke with my my lead guitar player Russ about, I'm like, you imagine, 9 whatever years ago it was, you were teaching me how to play guitar. It's just kind of surreal that he's the lead guitar player in my band, the man who had first started teaching me lessons, and then after that it was self-taught. So, he taught me the basics of the G, D, C chords and all that, and then I kind of advanced myself by just learning how to, where to go after this chord, or where do I need to do that by reading or watching videos or whatever have you. That's how I got to where I am today.
So let me ask you, if I were to say, do you feel that you are better at actually playing the guitar or putting words on paper? Which would you say at this point, now that you've had enough of the testing time here?
I would say, because the people that surround me who play the guitar are phenomenal. So I would say my strongest aspect is words on paper, and being able to, if I had a guitar in front of me right now and you had some topic, say it was driving down the road or whatever, or aspen trees and fall, I could write you a song probably nonstop from start to finish in the second of just grabbing the guitar, play a few chords, kind of find a little melody in my head. It may not be, the perfect song right to begin with, but it'd be a song, and it makes sense. And
sure.
I'm just always been good with words that just come out of my mouth, or I'm telling a story, so I tell a story, and so I've always been blessed with being able to do that, which is always funny because my friends would always throw topics at me. They would say, jacked up truck or something, and I'd go on and keep playing and make up words to songs that they wanted. So I would say paper and my words are probably my strongest feature.
I like those folks. Anybody who's a writer, that's all I've ever done. People know me by radio and other things, and I'm like, there's something so magical about making words and putting them on paper. I can't even tell you. So I'm always encouraged when I hear somebody say, yeah, I love to play music, but I love putting those words together. It's absolutely phenomenal. You put a whole lot of words together for your 2020 EP, of course. So what I want to ask you about the new EP is very simplistic, which is every musician starts off at a certain point, and we all get that little tickle in our tummy that tells us we're doing what's meant to be done here. So during the course of putting this whole EP together, tell us what the best part about was it and what was the worst part of it, because I can imagine it must take forever to put something like that together.
Yeah, it was the worst part about it was COVID hitting right in the middle, smack dab middle of trying to put this thing together, and I had plans to do this, and finally got my producer, Rick Podmore, on, we're all ready, set to go, and we got the ball rolling, and then COVID had hit, and it stopped us dead in our tracks, and it's like, you can't travel, you can't do this, and I'm like, come on, we're like right in the middle of this. I just want to get it done, and so, it delayed that thing by months and months, and, you know how long this has been going on, so it's just been, it's very hard to do that, but once things got reopened, we obviously found our way to finish the product. But the best part, I would say, is just when we started doing the song called How About It, we kind of got in the studio, and I had my version of the song that I had wrote. I'd had everything kind of, in my head, what we've been playing live, like when we would do shows, we would kind of give people that song in that sense. And then when we got in the studio, all the magic that just kind of came down to putting that song to where it is today, just all the, ideas between me and my producer, let's pause here and do this. And, it was just so cool to see this thing come to life on a I guess a tape or a CD, and being able to hear myself back, and that whole, everything I've been working so hard for, that first moment of realizing that, hey, we're getting somewhere. I'm not working my butt off for nothing. We're getting somewhere, and so to see that come to life was just such a good, happy moment that I had through this music career of mine.
Exciting. That's awesome. It is. It's nice when things come together. When we get old, like people like myself, like I mentioned, it takes us years before we start noticing it pays off, but it does pay off in the long run. And the EP he's referring to, folks, is the EP called Shifting Gears. Since you brought the song up, this is a perfect headway because she sent me 2 songs, and I picked that one. How about it? So can you give us an intro into the music, and then I will play the song for everybody so you can actually hear him instead of me talking about him or him talking about him. Give us an intro, please, for your song.
So How About It was the whole reason that I had wrote this song was because there was a certain person in my life who I had seen struggling, who was stuck in this small town and couldn't get out, didn't have anywhere to go, and I said, why don't you just go somewhere? I mean, how about it? Why even, why stick around? Just go and live your life. And that whole how about it thing was like, why don't you leave? How about it? Like, let's leave. How about we do this? How about we go do that if it's going to make everything that much better in your life? And so the whole idea was how about it was like, let's just go. Let's go live our life. Because like I said, when we first started this interview, we've got one shot at this. He doesn't make any redos that we know of, so you might as well give it your best shot. And then it's at the end of the day, it's, well, how about it? Let's go do it. So being able to, as soon as I had said that, it struck in my mind, there's the song, there's How About It. And just like that, it was pen and paper and a little bit of music, and here we are.
And you betcha. And, of course, you get to see his cute little girlfriend because I'm on radio, so I can't show the video, but the cute little girlfriend's there. In fact, I watched it earlier, and I was like, you know what? I should have sent this to Michael and be like, you know what? We need to do this, like, ASAP. It's adorable. It's a wonderful song. Very well put together. So I'm going to be quiet for 3.5 minutes. This is his version of How About It. Here we go.
I can see it in your eyes. You need something more. You never had a chance to leave, but I'll show you that door. Sick of that same old, day in and day out. Nothing ever changing, and the world spinning around. What do you say? We can leave right now. I'll pull that old map out, baby. Just put your finger down. How about it? We can
about that? My goodness gracious. Very impressive. In fact, all of his music is very impressive, what I have gotten. Of course, if you folks want to hear him in person, I know that you have an upcoming event on the 5th of October, 6 o'clock at the Fort Idaho Center. So is that just a regular performance, or is it a special fundraiser, or what's going on there?
So that event is actually, it's a really cool thing that we got asked to do it, but they're doing a huge awareness as well as fundraising for the police. It's kind of a back the blue type thing, because right now it's such a difficult time for them, everything that's going on in this world, which, I'm not one to say who's right and wrong for any situation, but for me being able to go and show them some support and, do my part and participate in this event and being able to be the main headliner of the night that night, and that big arena is going to be just a blast, and we're looking forward to it. So it's a fundraiser for the police and for all the men and women that serve this country.
Nice, very nice. Now, do people need a ticket? They can just show up. How is that working?
You can buy tickets online. If you go to my Facebook page. There's a link there to be able to grab tickets, and you can get them online through their website there. That's the easiest way to do it. Or you can buy tickets at the door if they have any left, though I know they were going fast because of, they're limited to 2,500 tickets because of COVID. So it's kind of a, get there first come, first serve for, like we said, we would love to have that whole thing packed, but obviously right now we can't do it with everything that's going on in the world.
Sure, you betcha, absolutely. And folks, in case you don't know this, because I'll be saying your website and all the ways to find you, of course, he's got shirts, he's got caps, he's got hats, he's got jackets, he's got sweatshirts, he's got hoodies, and he's got CDs all on the website. I always thought it was weird. I'm like, I have my name and my brand on stuff. I'm like, doesn't that ever weird you out? Like, oh, look, my name is on a whole bunch of stuff. It's kind of a surreal feeling, isn't it? It's kind of odd to me. I'm like, that's me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It really is. My biggest thing is, it took me a while to get used to, but years actually to be exact. But when people would go, who you with? And they'd say Levi Blom Band, and I'm like, huh, what? Who? And so it was really, really weird to see. Yeah. Really weird to see your name being on things and people wearing it. I'll go out in town and I'll see someone with a sweatshirt on of ours or a hat, or I stopped at a stoplight the other day and the guy was he was listening to our music, and I kind of looked over, and then he'd seen who I was, and I just kind of gave him the thumbs up, rock on, and drove off. But It was just really cool. It's really, really awesome to be able to see people support.
That's awesome. Well, before I forget to ask, so what's up for Levi Blom next? Where are you headed after this? Obviously, you've got a few private affairs that are going on, a screening. What do you hope to have happening screening? I'm all right. This is not film. It's music, Cindy. So you've got an upcoming live event. You've got private events. See, I've been doing film too long. So what's up next? Like in the next year, what can we expect from you?
The next year, I would obviously expect some more music as well to follow up this EP, but to start seeing us playing out more and more, more areas, trying to get on the road more. Once everything kicks back open, we're hoping to get our schedule back in gear. California, Nevada, going through all those places and trying to connect on all the lost gigs we got because of this coronavirus. And so we're hoping that in the next year, you'll be seeing a lot more of us out playing live in your area or wherever you are, that you'll see us, hopefully.
That's very cool. Well, it's been an hour. Every time I do my show, I'm like, doesn't it feel like it's 10 minutes? To me, it always feels like 10 minutes, and then here we are an hour later. I'm like, holy man. So hopefully it's been a wonderful show. I need to do a couple business things first, which is I want to let you know, to you and, of course, any fans or followers, about 2 hours after the show gets done, it becomes archived. So it'll be on Blog Talk Radio. I'll send you a link for BTR as well as YouTube because I have a full channel there. You'll have both copies of that there. That's number one. Number two, I don't want to forget two things. First of all, Kelly Bennett, again, anybody who is listening right now, I have tons of friends who are publicists. Kelly Bennett has a little shine to her, and I like her so very much. She's very professional. She's very punctual. She's very persistent. Just so you know, your publicist did not let this go. She was on and on and on. I love that. She actually would not let it go, and I'm like, heck yeah, I want this guy on my show. So Kelly Bennett of Bennett Unlimited PR, which is BennettUnlimitedPR.com. Check her out. Obviously, you can see she's got some quality clients. Hello, he's on my show right now. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to read off all the ways to find you. When I get done, just let me know if I've missed anything. So the gentleman I've talked to today is Levi, just like Levi Jeans, Levi Blom, Blom. Believe it or not, I didn't say it because I didn't know how to pronounce it until he just said it. Smart am I. Here we go. Website, leviblom.com. He is also on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, TikTok, LinkedIn, and then, of course, same handle for Twitter and Instagram, which is LEVIBLOM_music. And then on Facebook, he has a personal page. Thank you so much for the ad, because he just added me. I feel like a girl, like with a musician, like, oh, my God, he just added me. And, of course, his professional page is just Levi Blom Music. And, of course, that's it. Did I miss anything? Please tell me I didn't.
Nope.
I hope not.
Nope. You were on the ball.
I am. Well, I have one last thing for you. To those people that have been listening to my show for almost, holy cow, 10 years now. Has it been that long? Yes, it has. Most people know this. You don't, because I'm guessing you've probably never heard of my show before. But the last thing I do is I get to tell you what I think of you. And I do this because I'm a writer, so my show is scripted. The only thing unscripted is what I'm about to say to you right now, because I feel that you have a responsibility. You should know what I think of you, and more importantly, this is where all the surprises come in, because I'm sure your publicist did not tell you that I give out surprises at the end of every show. So you are about to get surprised. It's kind of like that old show.
I love surprises.
I can't remember it, but no, I do. I have some great surprises. First of all, the reason why I asked you about that lodge is, number one, yes. In fact, I am going to beg and plead Michael so that we can go there and spend a weekend, because I need a vacation. I know he needs a vacation. But it's a B&B, and who doesn't want to stay there? Number two, Montana, I hear, is quite lovely. And number three, you might be pleased to know that unless she says no, all of my begging has worked, which means when I do my event there, then it's altogether possible that I'll have an actual live appearance by Levi playing music at that place as well. That's already, the wheels are already in motion. Your publicist did not know that. I chose it. I figured, well, as long as I'm asking, may as well throw in a musician. So that's number one. Number two, a long time ago, one of the things that I don't do well, which I admit, I'm not the greatest filmmaker in the world. I do lots of things really well, but I have started a project, what seems like years ago, called 100 Love. The purpose of that movie is to basically immortalize those that we love, and it's being played out by actors. And at the very end, there's a very large collage of just hundreds of pets, motorcycles, anything, look of love. So then I got to thinking, and I said to myself, how would you feel? I asked you if it would be okay to put a picture of your best friend at the very end. To me, there's no real way to really immortalize someone. You know, you need to take it to every level possible, and you've already done that in music, so I thought that I would do it in my own way and ask you if I could have him be part of my collage, if that would be okay for you.
Absolutely. I would be honored to have that happen.
He said yes. So, yeah, that's number two. Number three, before I tell you what I think of you, you guys got to listen to this. So, because I'm a journalist, one of the things we do is we creep around behind your back, and they get to find out information about you. So I asked your girlfriend, what is it that I should know about you that I don't already? So, folks, if the music didn't convince you, if everything else that he said about his career didn't convince you, listen to what she had to say about this man. And I think it's important, because no one knows you better than your own family or the people that you're with. So, this is Levi. He is one of the most genuine and hardworking people I know. He puts everyone before himself. He's the guy who will stop every time he sees someone on the side of the road with a flat tire, even after he's worked 12-plus hours that day. He would go to the ends of the earth for his family and friends, no matter how big the inconvenience it is. He's also one of those people who have to see a task through. He's never been one to not finish something he started, which is good, because he keeps me on track a lot of the time. That's the guy we've been talking to. He sounds pretty phenomenal, doesn't he? And by the way, she sounds just like me. I'm like, boy, she sounds like a girl in love. Like the host here. I've said that like 1,000 times about Michael. So, first of all, there you go. So, surprise number three is that's what your girlfriend said to you. So that's very, very sweet. So my thanks to her as well, obviously, for giving her contribution. So, The very last thing I have to say to you is, obviously we'll have to connect after the fact, which is why I sought you out on social media, is because I would like to be able to help I would like to help if at all possible. I realize the show is one thing. Sometimes I feel like you have to take it to the next level, especially because we're all struggling right now. So these are my thoughts and impressions of the young Levi. When Kelly Bennett came to me and she asked me to interview him, I thought, oh, great, it's another musician. I've interviewed thousands of musicians in my lifetime. One of the things that stood about you that was so significantly different is you have the soul of a very old person. That's probably one of the highest compliments I can give to someone, because old souls remember things. They immortalize them. They memorize them. They make magical memories of that. You've made memories of your friends, your loved ones. You've incorporated your loved ones into your music. There's no better swan song than something like that to another person. So for one, that shows great depth and great conviction, great character. More importantly, your music is fun and interesting. I was walking through the house, literally cleaning my house, listening to your music. So it resonates through the house. It makes you think. It makes you feel. You are very young, but you are very good at what you do. And I can imagine you were probably half as good, if not more as good at hockey as you are at music. I see a very long future, for one, because you have not just a terrific publicist, but because you're very honest, hardworking, and you're very humble. I'm very blessed that you were my first guest back, because I have nothing but celebrities on my show. And you, my dear, are already a celebrity. And the last thing I want to say is, hopefully I'll get a chance to meet you in Montana, because, yes, I am coming there before the end of the year. That's all.
Absolutely. I would be honored to meet you in person. And thank you so much for the kind words. And I think you are amazing as well. And all the stuff that you've done for me has just been great. And so to everyone listening, you guys have a great show here to be able to just dial in and listen to. So I'm very glad to have come to light of all this, and I got to say thanks to my girlfriend for saying such kind words. You know, she's a great girl.
That's sweet. That is. That's very, very sweet. Yes. So, yes, like I said, give me a couple hours. I'll send you over the archived episodes of both of these. I'll send them over to Kelly as well, and then we'll get connected in terms of the movie part and the other things. But I just thank you so very much for everything, and don't be a stranger, of course. Feel free to come back here, come to I've got the magazine, of course, at the film festival, so just don't be a stranger.
Absolutely, Cindy. Thank you very much for having me on. Sure. I appreciate it so much.
Anytime. All right, dear, we'll be in touch. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Tell me that he wasn't phenomenal, right? And most importantly, I don't know, maybe it's just me. You guys have been following me forever, right? So you know that the more unhappy I am, the more I got to give away. So, yes, indeed, it was a true pleasure to have Levi on the show. One more time to remind everybody, his main website is leviblom.com. He can be found on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, LinkedIn, TikTok. Both his Instagram and Twitter are the same, LEVIBLOM_music. And, of course, Levi Blom Music and Personal on Facebook. Again, like I said, Unlimited PR. Bennett, Unlimited PR. Can't say it enough. One more time, Bennett, UnlimitedPR.com. Big thanks, of course, once again to Kelly Bennett for her efforts in getting, of course, Levi onto the show. Big thanks to Kaylee again. Hopefully I'll get a chance to meet her in Montana, his lovely girlfriend. So go ahead and check them out. And again, the EP is Shifting Gears with the song we play, which is How About It, which is doing phenomenal. Also check out the video on YouTube. I want to remind everybody a couple quick things before I go. Tomorrow I am having the pleasure of Caroline Alexa McBride coming on my show. She recently put out her new, I want to call it a romantic comedy. They call it rom-com. I'm not big in the acronyms. It was just released on July 21st, and it's her debut novel. It's called 4 Seasons at Angelino's. On a side note, she originally is a bi-coastal girl who actually specializes in restaurant PR, that's now taken the leap. She's got a phenomenal travel blog. We're going to talk about all things Caroline tomorrow, and that's 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. Then on Friday, I have the pleasure, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I say that because I don't get up for almost anybody, and I mean literally anybody. But A.J. Govind is going to be coming on 10 o'clock Central Standard Time on Friday. First of all, he is one of my winners, special interest film at Heart of the Live Film Festival. He's being featured in my magazine, and most importantly, he has done over 40 films. He is phenomenal in the way of PR, in film, in writing, directing, you name it. Hands down, sensational guy all the way around. Can't wait to be hosting him. And that's 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. To wrap things up, I have to say again, thanks so much to everybody for being so patient and waiting for me. Clearly, I've made it very obvious that my trials and tribulations these last few months. Thanks so much to everybody who has said a prayer or sent words of encouragement or been cheerleading me, helping me trying to make decisions about my career. Thank you so much to all. I can't even believe how many comments and personal notes and text messages about my son. Unfortunately, he's so much better now. So thank you so much for caring about all of us. Like I said, it's been a very challenging couple of weeks. My hope is that by the end of next week, I'll have some clarity on my career and all things in my life, and things will be back on track and much better. But I just want you to know I appreciate you. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for still tuning into my program. And I look forward to hosting my next guest tomorrow. You guys have a wonderful afternoon have a wonderful afternoon. I hope you do tune in tomorrow. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.